Well, hi, ladies. Beth from Be Styled, and it's time for Tipsy Tuesday. Coming to you a little late today. Going to try to make this a quick one. That's hard for me though. But today I'm talking about a very common question slash issue slash challenge, and that is dressing our menopausal midsections. With menopause comes lots of changes, and a lot of times one of the major changes can be a shift in where things are landing on our body. And a lot of times there is, a shift of extra weight in that midsection. And yes, there are ways to minimize it, to avoid it. Definitely. I don't think you have to just throw up your hands and say it's inevitable and not worry, and not, obviously you shouldn't worry about it, but not do anything about it, and just, it's not a foregone conclusion. But what I want to talk about today is how we can use clothing strategically so that we just feel more comfortable. I'm not talking about covering ourselves up, because that's probably the biggest mistake we make, especially as we get a little bit older. We feel like we just need to cover up. And that's not fair. You're not being fair to yourself. You're not making yourself look better, really. And you're not doing yourself any favors. So let's talk about how we can use clothing strategically, kind of, and easy. These are easy things to do. Easy is probably not the right word, but it's not rocket science. Okay. So I have about 7 tips, and basically they all are, revolve around things like color, cut, or silhouette, and just the use of lines and angles to kind of mask that midsection and make yourself feel more comfortable in your clothes. Okay, from the top, number 1, it's something I talk about all the time, is monochromatic dressing. I call it the column of color. I wore one on Saturday night. We went to a progressive dinner party where we went to 3 different houses, walked, and one person had appetizers, one person had the main course, and then I had dessert. But anyway, I wore this. It's from Target. You could Google it and find it. I think it's still available. Just a it's a midi satin polyester probably skirt with a matching sweater. Okay, and one of my hosts was like, "I love your outfit. It's just so great." And I said, "Oh, I think I used the term column of color." And she was like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "It's when you wear, tone on tone, head to toe." And, and I just am around this all the time. So I kind of just assume everybody knows about it. And a lot of you who follow me know about it. But this woman's very smart, very stylish. And she's like, "I've never heard of that. I'm going to try that." So simple. You can do it with your athleisure, with your matching athleisure set. You can do it with a suit, obviously. I wrote a blog about this today, so that you can reference it, and I show pictures and examples. So that link is right in the description of this video. But column of color, it doesn't have to be black. It can be wine. If you're trying to, hide midsections and, elongate your look, darker colors might be better, but not always. I love a column of color in fact, in the blog, I show a picture of, it's almost all white, winter white, or creams or tans. It doesn't have to be the exact color either. It doesn't have to match. Like, these are the same color, but you see how it's different texture. I've got the satin skirt and the knit sweater. So maybe it's, black leather pants and a black leather sweater. And mixing up your textures and your tones. It doesn't have to be all white. It could be, cream or camel with winter white, just to kind of give that unbroken line. Okay, so column of color is first. Now the second, that's probably my number 1, and number 2, my favorite trick, is that layer, that top. And especially when you're trying to mask a midsection, my 2 favorite tricks are a blazer, even like a longer blazer. I'm not talking in this situation. I'm not talking about the very hip, cropped, boxy jackets. That's not going to create this strategy that I'm talking about. I'm not saying you're not going to wear those, because they're great and they're very in style, but we're talking about this midsection situation. By making the jacket a little bit longer, this is not long. This is it's just one I had that I grabbed. It's hitting me the top of my thigh. But what it's doing is it's giving some structure. You know, instead of, you know, we used to wear, like, you'd see women wear like the big voluminous tunics with leggings to mask that stomach. And that's just making everything look bigger. And oftentimes, if you have thinner legs, especially, you get that very, you know, out of proportion look with a bigger top and a thinner bottom. So what a blazer does, or a jacket, doesn't have to be, you know, a blazer like this. It could be a field jacket, or I'm going to talk about cardigans. Just something that gives a little bit of structure, gives you some shape. And, you know, I have my shirt tucked in, but what else it can do is if you want to wear a shirt untucked, let's see if this works. I think it's going to work. You could wear your shirt untucked, iron it, and then by adding a jacket, you're giving you're still able to untuck, but you're creating some structure. You know, there's a little bit of lines in the waist area. You know, you've got a strong shoulder. So structured pieces are so key to create your shape, to create a balanced, proportionate, you know, silhouette. Okay, but we don't always want to wear jackets, especially as we get, you know, if you're having a cozy day at home or whatever, you don't want to wear a jacket all the time or a blazer. So a longer cardigan. This is one I've had, and it's linked in the blog post. It's from Amazon. I've had this for years. This is long. This might be too long, especially for a petite, but on me, it hits me maybe this high above my knee. But what a longer cardigan's doing is, maybe it's not this long, maybe it's, you know, maybe it's similar to what my jacket is, or a little bit longer, you know, mid-thigh. What that's doing, and what the jacket is doing, the jacket's providing structure. What this is doing is it's creating a vertical up and down line. So if you are wearing a column of color, whether it's burgundy or camel or something, black, gray, by adding a longer cardigan over it, you're getting that coverage that you might be wanting, but you're creating you're creating long lines. There's no stripe in this sweater, but think about it. If this was, you know, a color, navy, or pick a color. Let me demonstrate. If, you know, it's burgundy. By adding the cardigan, I'm creating these two vertical lines. It's so simple, but it's so powerful. It's drawing the eye up and down. It's creating those lines, just like people used to always want to wear vertical stripes. You don't have to always wear vertical stripes. You can create that line just by adding a cardigan like this, okay? So, cardigans and jackets. Number 3 is high waist. I hate to use that term, but considering the waist of your pants, okay? Generally speaking, a higher waist or a waistline that comes to, I like it to come to like the belly button, not down lower, because then you're going to get that, especially if you have a belly, by coming down lower like we used to wear, below your belly button, you're going to have that muffin top. So these are considered high rise, but they're hitting me right at my belly button. But like I talk about all the time, you can't just go by what the retailer calls high rise. They call everything high rise now, it seems. One of my clients has a short torso. So she always says, I can't wear high-rise jeans. If you have a short torso and you're wearing like an 11-inch rise, which is technically a high rise, you know, your jeans could be coming up to your bra, right? But so she said she was like on Old Navy, and she said everything was high-rise. So she was like, I can't get them. And then I was in her head, or so she started to think, all right, well, what is high-rise? What do they mean? So she looked, and it was like 10 inches. I think in this case, it's like their wide leg jeans, 10 or 10.5 inch, which for a lot of women is more of a mid-rise, or like it's considered mid-rise, but it's not going to hit her way up high. It's hitting her probably at her belly button, which is what she wanted, which sucks it in, smooths it out, and it fits her torso proportions beautifully. So she hit the jackpot. And then all these other women in my group that she shared it with were able to hit the jackpot, because a lot of women, especially if you have a short torso or you're petite, high rise, 11, 12 inch rises are going to be really not going to work, but a 10 inch rise is going to work. So don't worry about what it's called. Figure out what the actual measurement is. A lot of retailers have gotten better about putting that rise number. If not, you're going to have to either like go to the store and measure it yourself, or just try it on. And then you'll start to get a pretty good idea of what's right for you. But my rule of thumb is right about the belly button. But some people like it higher. Some people might want it a little bit lower. But you got to figure out what works best for you. Find your jeans or pants that you love the most and measure that rise. And, you know, by rise, I mean from the crotch to the top. Okay. It's probably somewhere between the lowest would be like maybe a 9, 9.5 up to like 12. If you have a long torso, or you're tall, or you know you want to really elongate your legs and you have real estate up here, a high rise is gonna make your legs look so much longer. And if it's the right denim, it can really do wonders for the midsection. But you got to get the right rise for you. Okay, that's number 3. Let's see if I can remember. Number 4, we're talking about just the silhouette of your top is so important. A lot of times we really stress out about the bottoms because they are the hardest. But you can find the most perfect pair of pants that are the perfect rise and they just work well on your midsection. But then you can't just throw any top on. You got to think about the top and the length of the top and the silhouette of the top. And there are a couple, you know, famous, popular silhouettes that do a great job of working with the midsection and kind of creating this like that hourglass, which is what we're all kind of going for, you know, making a balanced figure. One would be a wrap top. I just grabbed this off my rack. This is it's called the crossover top from Cabby. So it's a wrap top, and I've linked in the blog post several. They're fortunately available this year, so you could even go on Amazon and do a search. I put some from Nordstrom. They're probably in other retailers as well. But you know, usually what's nice is if it's a faux wrap, so there's not like tying involved. I'm not a huge fan of when there needs to be a tie where you have to like actually wrap it and tie it, because then it's just something more to mess with. And then you've got this like string hanging down, and I think it can get messy. Whereas a faux wrap like this just connects and it gives that crisscross, which is just a great strategy. The other strategy that's great with dresses and with tops is anytime there's ruching, just that where that's just gathered fabric, is a great way to cheat the eye and mask a belly. So think about your crossover tops, your wrap tops, wrap dresses, anything with ruching. Dresses with ruching in strategic places where you can kind of mess around with it and get that look that you're going for. Okay, next, to see if I remember what's after the tops. We talked about, and then along those same lines is just being mindful of your fabrics. A lot of times those wrap tops will come in like a thin jersey, especially if it's I saw some on Amazon that were like a very thin jersey material, and that's going to cling. Jersey is going to cling to everywhere. All right. So consider something with a little bit more oomph to it, either more structure to it, you know, your natural fibers. And the same with pants. You want pants that drape without being clingy and too thin. So consider your fabrics and get to know what works. Well, you must be 60 years above. I can't read. Someone just said something. So consider your fabrics. That's also very key. And then last but not least, don't forget your shapewear. A lot of people hate shapewear. I'm not a huge fan, but I just recently got some Spanx has a new like core, it has the word core in it. I linked it in the blog post. That's comfortable. I have a wedding coming up and I'm going to need to put on some machinery under this dress. But I personally like just the boy shorts that come up a little high, but you do you. I'm not saying we're going to wear Spanx every day by any stretch, but if you have a special occasion or you're wearing, pants that are kind of showing any kind of bulges, whether it's like a sweatery material, throw on a pair of boy short, or they're called boy shorts underneath. And because they're not what they used to be. They're not awful like they used to be. And you'll just feel much more confident, and it sucks everything in, smooths everything out. It doesn't, if the light doesn't catch your back and, if the fabric's a little thin, you see all the lumps and bumps. Shapewear can be magical. So that's number 7. So that's what I have for you today. I am overheating. I think I've showed you everything. So 7 tips. go ahead and check my blog post for all the details. Go home and take a rest. Oddly, only seniors. I don't know. You are an old woman. Go home and take rest. Only senior citizen. I don't get that. I guess Regina's calling me an old lady. Sorry, I am an old lady. I'm not 60 yet, but hey, I'll take that as an insult, I guess. I don't know what she's trying to say. Maybe I'm missing the joke, but that's what I get for going on the internet, right? People can be cranky. Anyway, have a great day, ladies, and if you haven't already, go just get dressed, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.